It really is a world that is just constant, and it's not always the bad. Sometimes it's the good. I think for brands, if you're a fan and a follower of a brand and you are taking a picture with your new beverage that just came out or your new, whatever item that you're really, really excited about, just to be acknowledged by the brand that you love and that you have affinity for goes a really long way.
Welcome to Business Ninjas, brought to you by WriteForMe, where you'll hear from business leaders who are out there growing their business and slaying it every day. Learn from the masters. Let's get started.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Business Ninjas. I'm happy to be here today with Erica Lovegreen, Senior Vice President of Marketing and Communications at ICUC Social. How you doing today, Erica?
Andrew, I am well and just very appreciative that you would have me.
Oh, thank you for spending some time with us today on Business Ninjas. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and about ICUC Social.
Yeah, happy to do so. Like Andrew said, I'm Erica. I work for ICUC. If you're unfamiliar with ICUC, we are a community management agency. So we are the eyes, the ears, and in many cases, the brand voice of enterprise businesses. We've been doing this, believe it or not, for 20 years. We've been helping brands essentially just make sure that their channels and their communities are safe and engaged and having fun and just on and available. We know that online landscape has absolutely been shifting and changing. And if you're doing the math, social media definitely did not exist 20 years ago. We started very humble Canadian roots, and we sort of grew from text message contests into news forums, and then social media came to be. And again, we were just there answering concerns and questions and complaints and building communities for businesses. So it's been super, super fun. And a little bit about me, I started in journalism. So I love asking questions. I'm very curious always. Somehow found myself in PR not too long after that, and then found my way over here at ICUC. So it's been a really fun journey, and I'm just really proud to work with an incredible team.
Obviously, a team that had quite some foresight on them to start a project like this 20 years ago. I was going to ask, what were they doing leveraging text messages? And you answered the question. Tell me about the first year or two of a business like this at a time where people didn't know they needed anything like it.
My understanding, so I've only been with the organization about 5 years, which I still can't even believe that. But my understanding is that we were helping the WWE with text message campaigns and just, moderating those conversations. Things would come in through those streams, or they were helping tabulate, different numbers for contest entries. And again, from there, it was sort of this ingenious idea that, news sites have forums and blogs and commentary. I wonder if they need help just keeping those safe and PC. And so you can imagine the news world, conversations as the web was really growing, all of a sudden there was this need for help. And the journalists, they didn't want to be necessarily, deleting out things that were inappropriate to be on the site. They didn't have time for that. So who better than to just get a little extra help? Well, that then, social media evolved, and that is a whole new Wild West. And it was sort of a great business model to be able to say, hey, we can be your eyes and ears. We can help you. And as conversations just continue to explode or new channels continue to emerge, how great to, be able to look at a partner who can help you do that at scale. And if you think about some of the biggest brands on planet Earth, your Starbucks, your Disney or whoever, which we happen to work with, you can imagine by the time that you do that across all different languages and all different channels, all different places that people are talking, can become a little bit overwhelming. So we've really found a great space. It's not always the pretty agency work. It's not, it's not always, that space that is the most sexy to work in. However, it's so needed by brands because connecting with their fans and connecting with their consumers, making sure that, questions are being answered is just so important for a business in today's day and age.
Kudos to your founders for having the foresight and to forge a brand new niche that people didn't know they needed, and to convince people that they did need it. And you and I both know in this day, I can't imagine how many comments have to be scrubbed on the streams of these user groups. The way people behave as if, they get power in anonymity. We both know they're not really anonymous, because if you do anything really terrible in one of those forums, you will get a knock on your door, but it's just constant. So
it really is a world that is just constant, and it's not always the bad. Sometimes it's the good. I think for brands, if you're a fan and a follower of a brand and you are taking a picture with your new beverage that just came out, or your new, whatever item that you're really, really excited about, just to be acknowledged by the brand that you love and that you have affinity for, goes a really long way. You also, as an organization, you can learn from your audience. Your audience gives you hints and tips and tricks all the time on what your next product is. And so for us, it's just really fun to get to live and breathe and play in those conversations. And there's incredible tools and technology that bring a lot of that in. But it still takes that human eyeball and that human touch still to help synthesize and analyze that, and also just understand the nuances, the political nuances or sarcasm. The tools don't always pull that. And we take a lot of pride in being that kind of space between the tech and the human and the brand, and sort of wrap that all together. And our founders too, they actually, we were a remote business 20 years ago and have been remote since the beginning, which makes us really, really unique and really, really different. So really proud to be, in the forefront and be innovators in that way as well.
you just teased a tagline I see on your website that you need to remind people that there are humans behind brands. And I firmly believe that. You can look at a spreadsheet all day long and you can bean count, but at every step of the equation, there are human beings, and you have to remember that. And that's super important. So once again, kudos. You guys worked completely remotely 20 years ago.
20 years ago, we were in basements. We were, we were scrappy. We were doing what we could with the technology that was available. And then as the business continued to grow, we really loved the idea. Our founders loved the idea of allowing work and life to have this comfort and this flow, and really bought into the idea that if you love what you do, then those two things could have synergy and work together. And again, they were they had a lot of forethought prior to the world post-pandemic really adopting this idea of remote work. And we've learned to collaborate. We have incredible systems, and they've been in place for many, many years. The rest of the world just didn't really adopt that or have to push themselves to try. And again, the days that the pandemic was really hitting, it was not really a different day for us in terms of work stream and workflow. We were really giving advice to those who were coming online and trying to fit their business models into a world that we were really comfortable with.
Everybody else is playing catch up to ICUC, I see.
Right? What are we going to do next?
Well, I can't imagine the challenge of leveling the playing field, considering the levels of internet service that were and weren't available to all of your teammates 20 years ago.
Yeah, I think we've definitely evolved and grown. And it's a fun time to be working remote now too. There's more tools and technology for the collaborations that we do. So we've, just really worked to optimize our systems and leverage what does exist today that maybe we didn't have yesterday to do that. And we're, again, we're the early adopters. We're the testers. We like to tinker. We like to play. We're not afraid of new channels. TikTok didn't scare us. The metaverse doesn't scare us. We're embracing it and moderating avatars and all kinds of crazy stuff. So we really pride ourselves in being pioneers and again, front runners when we're able to be. It's really fun.
Excellent. You dropped a couple, shall we say, substantial names a couple minutes ago. Tell me about what verticals you service and what sort of companies you work best with.
Yeah, what's really cool is we are not limited by industry. We work across all of the industries. We have clients from pharma all the way to like Disney theme parks, like I said, to finance, to retail, consumer packaged goods, like your Unilevers. We really do not limit ourselves by industry. So that's super fun. Typically, we work with a lot of corporations and enterprise businesses because there's a lot of social media commentary, or there's a lot of consumer commentary. And that's our sweet spot, our ability to help be an extension of their team. Maybe they have social media teams in place, but they just need overnight support or some super random language, or they're dipping their toes into a new market. We're able to complement their team. Or if it's truly from scratch, we need you for everything. We're happy to, really, really be the entire robust answer and solution to everyone. So again, we're not limited by industry. Some of my favorite brands to work with are actually regulated brands, like pharma. Novartis is one of our clients there, and there's some high regulations on what they can and can't do. Things like adverse events or brand safety issues have to be reported through a very strict compliance structure. And we really pride ourselves on, again, being that it's a partner. It's someone that you can trust, that you can lean into to be able to do it quality, do it right. And just make sure that everyone is playing safely, and that anything that's being brought to the brand's attention is there for them to be able to do the right thing. We actually helped another brand, I will not say this name due to some NDA type stuff, but we helped one of the COVID-19 vaccine providers with their social listening. Just they wanted to understand and kind of moderate the conversation and just kind of hear what people were saying in terms of feedback, so that they could make sure, A, that everyone was being kept safe, by this drug, but then any learnings that they needed to know in given markets, or, different things of how people were, interacting with the vaccines, or what the sentiment was. We were the ones creating those reports for their team. So just really exciting work. And I feel like being a member of this team, and I feel like getting to do what I do in marketing, we're on the forefront of some of the biggest things in history, like the pandemic. And we got to really help some people. I don't like to sound dramatic too often, but like in life and death scenarios, we're helping people and helping brands help people. And that makes what we do really cool, and makes me, as you can probably tell, very passionate about our work.
Hey, the fact that you guys put humans before brands, or you at least try to remind everyone that that's what the brands are made up of, that's important stuff. So what are common problems you're solving for your clients?
Oh my goodness. Common problems would definitely be that maybe they just have a small team and they cannot keep up with the volume of what, their customers are saying, or customer inquiries. And again, at the end of the day, good customer service is so critical for a brand success. If you're not answering your customers who, whether it's something good that happened or something bad that happened, there's just so many missed opportunities that exist there. So that's one major way that we are helping brands. Another major way is just doing, social listening reports, and just kind of understanding whether it's industry, whether it's product specific, whether it's competitive intelligence, whatever it is, know your landscape. Just understand how people are talking about you or your product, or the need that actually exists. It's so fun to find insights and be able to let a brand know what that conversation looks like. And then they can determine things like their content strategy or their move forward plans. But without data, without good, insightful data, you really aren't, you're not going to accomplish maybe what you hope to accomplish. So that's another way that we're really helping brands. And then, I think finally, we just want to keep that online landscape safe and engaging. And so being able to, again, be eyes and ears. There are things that go viral for brands. And if no one's watching, your PR teams or anyone could be caught off guard at any moment in time. And so we're flagging that, we're escalating that, we're making sure that the right people know what they need to at any given time. So whether we're engaging, whether we're, eyes and ears, whether we're helping kind of give sentiment and general understanding, I think you can find members of our team doing work across all those different spaces for some of these different brands.
as important to pay attention to the good stuff as the bad. I mean,
Yeah.
for me, I think that every single touch of a customer has to be a positive experience, because if it is, they end up being a promoter of your product, service, company in the long run. So
It's so true. And the other thing that isn't taken into account always is there's a lot of strategy that goes into this work. To respond to customers, you have to identify themes. Are there trends? Are there efficiencies? Are there things that we can do better in how we're building our brand voice and building our community, and just, again, bringing that loyalty, bringing that sentiment up, making this a place where an individual wants to come back and shop again or wants to communicate and engage again. So we really pride ourselves. There's a lot of executional work that you can imagine goes on here, but there's also strategic work. And there is a, not to be so black and white, but there's a right way to do online community management and engagement. And then there's some pretty cringy ways to do it. And we've seen brands be put on blast when it does not go well. And so having a good strategy, a strategy that everyone understands and feels comfortable with, these channels, not one community and group speaks the same language as another. And there may be the same brand affinity, but how a user of Instagram is talking is going to be vastly different than a community on TikTok, and vastly different from maybe someone who's anonymized in Reddit speaking about the brand. So having a really good strategy around brand voice as it relates to community management is something we work really hard on too.
Feeds into my next question. Tell me about the role of content marketing in growing ICUC social.
The content marketing is king, because I think that, the funny thing about community management is the world now really understands it. But a few years ago, it was this thing a brand knew they needed, but had a really hard time articulating why they needed it or what it was exactly that they needed. And in content marketing, over the last couple of years, we've seen a massive shift where community management is more commercial, more mainstream, but there's a lot of thought leadership that is still just needed in this space, because it is up and coming. It is a new but old concept, and the emphasis on customer care online is just exploded. And so in our world, in my world, content marketing is king. It's critical to continue to educate, to continue to drive home how important this is, and continue to just really share when a brand does this well and does this right, what that can look like for their fans and for their followers or for their future customer. And you really only get it through detailing out these incredible stories, through really showcasing. The data on all of this speaks for itself, but evangelizing and amplifying it is important. And content marketing is, critical to be successful there.
I know that personally, I've interacted with some companies in the last couple of years. I wish we're doing business with you, because I can tell you that my experience was not curated in a manner that retained me as a customer. So I think there's some companies out there that are ripe for the picking for you guys.
Yeah, we hope so. It's been again, I think the pandemic brought more and more people and more brands, together online for all the various needs and various reasons. And there's a lot of niche communities that have established, and to spread your wings and really surround all of those places and all of those communities and make sure your fans and followers and everyone's being taken care of is no easy task. And so we're really proud that we get to work with some, it's not just the massive brands that I mentioned. We work with some smaller organizations who, they need help, and they want to continue to grow, and they want to learn. And we're just really, really proud of the partnerships that we have.
Excellent. Speaking of COVID, tell me about the last couple of years in terms of ability to grow the business through COVID. Obviously, if you've been remote for 20 years, you were uniquely positioned to not be shocked by any of the need for change 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think if anything, volumes of conversations just went up. I think that's the Cinderella story of the community management world and landscape, is that we really were put on the map as a need. Volume of just people talking and communicating and wanting to find community, wanting to be immersed outside of just wherever they were locked down, or they were ordering more things than ever before, and they had questions, or they were exploring reviews, or they were, trying to find answers to problems. And again, organizations were able to turn to us in a very critical time. And we also had, since, over the course of the pandemic, a really big shift just in social media usage too, with short form video. There wasn't a TikTok conversation that we were having a couple years ago. In the pandemic, I think we were all looking for humor, and we were looking for more visual, and TikTok delivered and has continued to deliver on a lot of that. Just again, kind of the humanness of creators versus influencers. And so we've been really, really able to continue to grow in new spaces, new channels, evolve and adapt to the sort of pandemic / post-pandemic. Not really. I mean, there's still folks dealing with it every day.
Post from your mouth straight up that it's post.
Yeah. I don't know. Every day is a new day, I guess. But we've been able to evolve and adapt and be flexible with those times. But it has been a journey every single day. It just seems like there's a little bit of a nuance that goes into it. But again, fun challenges we live and breathe for. And we've been able, like I mentioned earlier, support not only mainstream, retail consumer companies, we're also living and breathing in the healthcare world. And I mean, those folks are heroes. They're doing incredible work. And to be able to engage with their patients, people who really, really are seeking medical advice, or they're seeking, to find answers or find community when they're struggling with a disease or illness. I mean, to be able to support those efforts is really life-changing. And again, we've been proud to be able to work in these different environments over the course of the pandemic, as we've all been learning together.
Excellent. All right, completely change gears. What is something you'd like to be celebrating personally and professionally 1 year from now?
Ooh, wow. 1 year from now. I think for ICUC, one thing, I think we just want to have more awareness to who we are and what we do. I think that, again, the community management landscape, and I don't know exactly how, if that comes maybe with some awards, or if that comes with, again, maybe a few big partnership wins, but just we're so proud of the people that work here and what they're doing, and to get to evangelize the industry and the field. I will talk nonstop till I'm blue in the face to continue to share how special it is for these individuals who are working day to day, talking to fans and followers and patients. They work hard. They oftentimes go unrecognized because, again, we're not the sexy creative agencies building big, beautiful campaigns that get to display at the Super Bowl. No, we're the ones behind the scenes during the Super Bowl or whatever, who are, enjoying the commentary and bantering back and forth with people. It's not, our work isn't as visibly seen. So my dream, for our organization, professionally, what I would love to help us continue to accomplish is just to see more of a light shown on the industry and on the incredible people I work with.
And personally?
Ooh, personally, I am actually training for my first ever half marathon.
Ah.
So that is not necessarily related to my professional work, but what I can say for anyone who's done that journey or taking that journey or thought of that journey, having a goal that is ambitious like that, but physically and mentally, is just really, really cool to work through. And it is not an overnight thing, months and months and months of training. And I'm not there yet. We have a few more months to go, but I hope that the next time that we talk in a year, I can have crossed that off my bucket list, because it just seems, for those who've done it, it seems like such a big, crazy accomplishment. And I would be so proud to get to be amongst that group. It's really cool how people push themselves to do, that type of a physical and mental challenge.
I would say it is fairly clear that ICUC Social has found the right human being to occupy the position of Senior Vice President of Marketing and Communications in Erica Lovegreen.
They have someone who's ambitious. They can
Well,
say there's a lot of, maybe there's some feelings, but no one can question that I'm definitely ambitious or extremely passionate about what our team does and seeking to continue to amplify that at every moment possible.
nicely done. Please tell everyone what your URL is, how they can find ICUC Social, and what social media channels you're using these days.
Yeah, I mean, truly, you can find, of course, we're a social media agency. So if you can't find us on all of those, there's a bigger problem. So please, of course, all the mainstream social channels you can find presence. We spend a lot of time on LinkedIn with a lot of thought leadership, though. So that would be one place to check us out. And then, of course, our website, icuc.social. We've made it super, super condensed and easy to remember us. But again, we'd invite anyone to check us out, learn more about us, and really just think on what your strategy is. And if you want some help or you want to have a consultation, to give us a shout.
Erica Lovegreen of ICUC Social, thank you for spending some time with us on Business Ninjas. I wish you, your company, and your legs all the success you can handle in the days to come. Thanks for spending some time
Appreciate
with
that.
us.